Once, when I was about 9 or 10 years old, I went trick-or-treating with my sister, and we, go up, we knock on one door, the woman answers the door, and she's like, "Oh, what are you, a unicorn?" to my sister. My sister's like, "Yep, that's me, I'm a unicorn." She looks to me and says, "What are you, a fat vampire?" Unfortunately, I was just a regular vampire and was just a chubby kid. Hello everyone, what's crack-a-lackin'? I know you're probably sick of hearing this by now, but I really am happy that spooky season is here, the weather is cooler, and I say that despite the fact that I've had problematic Halloweens, every year. There is one thing I do like about Halloween though, and that of course is the nails. So, today I'll be recreating my very first Halloween manicure. Not only was this my first Halloween manicure, this was also one of the first sets that I ever did using full cover tips. So although I intended for the art on this set to be scary, I didn't exactly intend for the application to look that scary. But anyway, let's get right into it. I'll be applying all of my base colors on these Après medium coffin tips. Of course, I had to use coffin tips in my original design. I mean, it's pretty much illegal to not use either coffin or stiletto tips on Halloween in my opinion, so, All my polishes and paints are from iGel Beauty and Young Nails as per usual, and everything will be linked in the description. So once I have all of my base colors on, I'm going to get a jump on this first nail, starting with the pinky on my right hand, and I'm going to be doing a ghost face design. My original design was literally just a cute little ghost face, and I ended up liking this design more, but in the moment I thought it was a better idea to go with the character ghost face. I ended up feeling like my old ghost kind of matched with the art style of the rest of the set better, but since this was the first one I did, I could not tell that from this point. But hindsight is 20/20. This is the Ugly Duckling Detailer 2 brush I'm using to get the face shape down. Then I'm going to switch on over to my trusty dotting tool to make the shape of the eyes, which is pretty much just like painting a couple of little beans. And after his little bean eyes, I'm going to move on over to his little butt cheek nose. You're welcome for sucking all of the fear factor out of this character. Then finally, we can go ahead and fill in his mouth. Now I'll be jumping on over to the middle nail, which will be our zombie. In my original design, this one is a hurtin' unit. As you can tell, it's a little smudged, but I remember being at that point in that design, and it had been about 4 or 5 hours since I'd started. So when I smeared it with my top coat, I just didn't care and I left it as is. A lot of this art is pretty straightforward, so rather than explain to you what you can clearly see, I thought maybe we could just, hang out, couple of buds, shooting the crap. I would like to recount with you my abysmal Halloween experiences. A little story time, if you will. It all began one dark and stormy night on October 31st, when I wanted nothing more than to dress as my favorite Disney princess, the Little Mermaid. I got my cute little dress, and it had me feeling as fine as a 4-year-old could. Unfortunately, mermaids aren't exactly dressed to face the harsh winters of the Canadian prairies. So I just wanted to pop in and say something quickly here. This index finger became kind of like my wildcard nail because I ended up combining the 2 pinky nails from the other set. I felt like the spider and the spider web should definitely be on the same nail and not 2 separate ones, so I was left with 1 spare nail left over, so I decided to wing it, no pun intended, and put some bats on there. So here I'm just painting the wing in front of the moon, and I'm going to go ahead and add some stars in the background. Anyway, there I am, 4 years old, ready to take on the night in my Little Mermaid dress when my mom pulls a mom card. She reminds me that I need to wear a jacket, and mind you, this is not, a little windbreaker situation. This is a full-blown puffy jacket. I clearly can't wear it over top because otherwise then I'm just a toddler in a skirt if you can't see the top. And so our solution was to put it underneath the dress, which, as you can imagine, was not ideal, as I looked like the Michelin Man was attending his first drag competition. So that Halloween was written off. And like I mentioned at the beginning, I was once asked if I was a fat vampire for Halloween when I was in fact a regular vampire. And please don't cancel me for this, but let's just say when I was a witch, my green face paint looked a lot more black. A couple Halloweens later, my friends and I went to a haunted house where when you entered it was 100% pitch black in there. You were meant to not be able to see anything at all for this one stretch of hallway. And I was dressed as a cowgirl that Halloween. So as I was feeling my way through this maze, I ran into a wall and my hat flew off and my glasses smashed into my face. So as nice as having a cut on the bridge of your nose feels, I wouldn't recommend trying that. Sometime after that, I ended up going with my best friend to her work's Halloween party. My perception of this party was immediately tainted when we arrived and there was someone dressed as a cow in a full costume on all fours on the front lawn puking. I definitely should have turned around when I saw this, but we went full force. We went right on in. Now, if you saw my Valentine's Day video, you may have heard a little bit of this story before, but if not, here goes. So I meet a guy there that's kind of trying to impress me, but in all the wrong ways. He'll never miss an opportunity to let me know that he likes to work out, and if words weren't enough, his actions definitely spoke louder. His first attempt to display his immaculate strength was made when he decided it was a good idea to pick me up by my underarms, just like you would pick up a toddler whose diaper is full. Then I grab a glass bottle, something to drink, and he immediately offers to open it for me, and I assume that he means with a can opener. But no, he decides that he's going to try to open this with his bare hands. So he's sitting there for a few minutes, really just giving her, putting that elbow grease in, trying to get the lid off. And when he finally gives up, he pulls his hand away and is just covered in blood because the cap just sliced the palm of his hand up. And to his dismay, it was not a twist-off cap. He really tried to pull his hand away quickly, trying to hide the blood, but I saw it all. I'll give him props for recognizing that the tough guy thing wasn't really cutting it, but unfortunately, he vastly overcompensated. He really leaned into his mushy-gushy emotional side by stealing the aux cord for the entire party, holding me on his lap while he serenaded me to a bunch of really cheesy slow songs, several of which were from movies like High School Musical. Another Halloween, I was still in high school, and my sister and I dressed up, of course, because, I mean, that's what you do on Halloween. And we go to school, and not another soul is dressed up. So my sister and I are sitting there in the car, panicking, as we're all fully decked out, figuring out how we can play this off. But ultimately, we decide that we're just gonna have to face it, and we're gonna have to go in there with our costumes. And I definitely should have known better given my track record on Halloween, but that was also the day that I decided to muster the courage and message my crush for the first time. Unfortunately, he didn't reply for 2 weeks because he thought that it was a spam number. I usually try to put the absolute least amount of effort that I can into my Halloween costumes, but this past year I really wanted to give it my all. I offered to make not only my costume, but someone else's costume as well. And I wasn't just gonna throw something quick together, because that would have been too easy. I actually sewed the costumes with my extent of my sewing knowledge being a toque and a stuffed bunny back in high school. I also decided to start these projects about a week before Halloween, so plenty of time. I ended up having to work at least 6 hours a day to get it done because it was like 100,000 times harder than I thought it was going to be. And on Halloween, when I had my costume on already, I ended up destroying it because I guess I am an absolute slob and usually stain everything that I own, and tonight was no different. I ended up getting a huge, oil. Honestly, I don't even know what it is. But there's a giant stain on this shirt that I made, so, I give up on Halloween. I still am not going to give up on my dream of having a totally normal Halloween. So this year, my friends and I are going as the Powerpuff Girls, and I will have a video of the nails I made for those coming up soon. I'm really excited about those. They're really cute. And I have finally almost collected everything that I want to test because I am putting together 2 top coat videos. One centered around comparing 10 matte top coats and then as well 10 regular top coats. And those take a lot of time, but I appreciate the patience because I really want to give them a wear test for at least 10 days so I can really see if they hold up. I don't really see the value in reviews where the verdict is given immediately after application because I think most things look good when they're freshly applied, but I really want to see, do the matte stay matte? Do the shinies stay shiny? But yeah, product comparisons are definitely my favorite videos to make, so stay tuned for more of those. They are just a lot to put together. So here is the finished look next to the one I did in 2019 versus the one I did this year in 2022. I like to see this side by side. I think it was really fun to see how far I've come. That is all for today's Halloween themed video. Be sure to give it a like if you liked it and subscribe if you want to hang out with me again. That lady was like a self-esteem vampire.
I want to suck your confidence.